there's probably nobody on right now. So I don't know. I'm going to just kind of wait 1 second. This is completely unannounced, so I don't know if it's even going to go out there. I should probably see if I can do that. What is this? Effects. No, I don't want effects. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's going to watch this. I don't usually do live videos. I didn't announce a live video. I just wanted to kind of put this out there for anybody who is here and just kind of give my thoughts. So if you're not watching, obviously no one's watching now, you can watch on the rewatch. So Disneyland in California has announced that there is going to be a change happening to Galaxy's Edge. Beginning April 29th, 2026, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland Park will expand its timeline to include more Star Wars eras. Darth Vader, Leia Organa, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker will all arrive on Batuu, joining other beloved characters roaming the Outer Rim outpost. Rey and the Resistance will continue their fight against the First Order in the Resistance camp. There will also be musical selections from John Williams' Star Wars film scores that will be played throughout the land. Hello, whoever's on. I'm not sure who just jumped in. But just talking about today's announcement about Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland now kind of shifting eras and having original trilogy characters and thematic things happening. And this is a really, really cool thing. I'm excited for Disneyland. Of course, disappointed that this was not a double announcement, that we also are going to get this in Disney World. But at the same time, I feel like this is a step in a right direction. I do want to put out my own opinion about current Galaxy's Edge as it is. I love Galaxy's Edge, and I love the characters that are there. I love the stories that they're telling. I love all of that. But I, like many, are of course, a fan of the original trilogy, and I would like to see a little more love for the original trilogy specifically there. I like that they created an original land. I think that was smart. And I think the way they built it is also smart, that it can kind of work in multiple time frames. Or, but what I'm hoping is that they just ease up on having it to be so much one time frame or another time frame. You know what I mean? But that's something that I'm still, this is a good news. This to me is a good thing to happen. Of course, I wasn't planning a trip to Disneyland this year. I had one the last 2 years, plus a trip that I did with my school. But I don't know if that's something we're going to be doing. But I'll just kind of go through. New storylines will be brought to life on Batuu, spanning multiple eras of the planet's rich history. These updates enable you to experience the Galactic Civil War and the New Republic, as well as the Age of the Resistance and the First Order. So, Black Spire Outpost will roll back in time several decades, thoughtfully introducing beloved characters from across the Star Wars timeline, new props and graphics in some areas, musical selections from Star Wars film scores throughout the land, and more. Each era will be brought to life with the same care and attention to detail that the land was originally designed with, masterfully weaving together stories from across time and space in one location. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what they're gonna, some of the things that we are gonna see. Okay, first off, there's. Let me just make sure we're sitting there. Okay, all messages are cool. All right, so we have Leia Organa and Han Solo will be reuniting with Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca amid the rocky spires. Luke will be roaming the outposts, seeking knowledge of the Force and artifacts related to lightsaber building, kyber crystals, and more. So he's going to be over by where they build lightsabers. I don't know if he's going to come in. If he came in while you were building a lightsaber at Savi's workshop, I mean, that would just be, I'm sorry, that would be crazy. Leia Organa may be spotted near the Millennium Falcon, where she'll recruit travelers and locals to keep Luke safe. Han Solo will also linger around his prize ship, tempted by the local cantina. These iconic heroes, and Darth Vader is going to be over, kind of in searching for Luke Skywalker. The Sith Lord will be joined by Imperial stormtroopers as they seek the elusive Jedi. They may find hints of the Force around the outposts. R2-D2 will also be making appearances, and we will also get Mandalorian, Grogu, and Ahsoka, because this time frame is close to their time frame. So they'll be also walking around. The forested area on the outskirts of Black Spire Outpost will continue to represent time inspired by the Age of the Resistance, and you will find Rey around the Resistance camp, and if you're bold enough, become a hero yourself in a climactic battle with the First Order on board the Rise of the Resistance, which I think is a good way to keep the current ride as it is. Okay. But here's my favorite part, and I mentioned it already. Hear John Williams music throughout the land. And now, technically, we do hear John Williams music in the land. It's an original piece that he wrote for Black Spire Outpost, for Galaxy's Edge, that is played kind of ethereally in kind of in-universe type of music or musical style, which is great. But I would really like to hear John Williams. I go to Avengers Campus in California Adventure, and I hear all that awesome Avengers music. And as a musician myself, I just want to hear that. I understand the reason why they didn't do it, but we'll get to that in a second. Passing through the tunnels of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the iconic, they're going to use music from the first 6 films. You'll hear the main title and the Force theme. You'll also hear Han Solo and the Princess, the Desert and the Robot Auction, which I don't think I ever knew that was the title, and the Emperor and more. And of course, the lively tune Cantina Band will be heard from within Oga's Cantina in the era of the Galactic Civil War. That announcement was weird. If you go to Oga's Cantina, you do hear the Cantina Band theme. So I guess it's just maybe you'll hear it from outside. I'm not quite sure what that means. In the era of the Galactic Civil War, proprietor Oga Gara only recently opened his watering hole, which is already becoming a popular spot for intergalactic travelers. Enhancement to local establishments and shops. As Batu history is represented with new storylines, you may notice some updates to buildings and shops throughout the land. First Order Cargo will transform to Black Spire Surplus, a military salvage operation offering artifacts from across the history of the galaxy, including Imperial and Rebel items from the Galactic Civil War. As antiquities shops often do, Doc Undar's Den of Antiquities will display a different array of one-of-a-kind items from its past. The curiosities and artifacts in this shop certainly change with the times. An earlier generation of Mubo family will operate the Droid Depot, where they will be prototyping the BB style of droid. Basically, that just means that they'll be offering a prototype of the BB-8, because at that time frame, BB-8 didn't exist, so they're offering a prototype of BB-8. So that just allows them to make sense in the story. Not that most people who go through will even understand that that's even happening, but it's good that they're sticking to story and they're explaining it. In search for information of lightsabers in the Force, Luke Skywalker will be interested in meeting with Savi. You may continue to have the opportunity to purchase and build your own lightsaber under the guidance of Savi's gatherers. As the storyline of Batu expands to encompass a broader selection of stories reflecting the planet's rich history, you will still be able to enjoy some of your favorite galactic pastimes, from the cockpit of Han's trusted ship fly aboard the Millennium Falcon's Smuggler's Run, or sample favorite flavors from across the galaxy like blue milk and Ronto wraps. Watch as the spires of Batu, now this is something unique to Disneyland, and this has already been happening, become a one-of-a-kind backdrop each night for the legendary story of the Skywalkers in the projection show Shadows of Memory, A Skywalker Saga. And on select evenings, Fire of the Rising Moons, which is it's a unique view of the Disneyland Park fireworks accompanied by music and tales from across the galaxy. Whether you're walking the path of the light or dark side, or even just a traveler passing through this rich story, you won't want to miss these updates and celebrate even more of the stories and characters Star Wars fans know and love. You may begin to see some enhancements appear in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland over the next couple of months before they officially debut on April 29th, 2026. So this is awesome. This is great news. Again, I don't want my excitement to in any way, if you've watched my channel, you know that I love going to Galaxy's Edge in Florida. I am happy that this is happening, but I'm also, I'm thinking about what's going away. I don't know, probably not much. I mean, I think that we already knew that there was a Mandalorian and Grogu overlay being put in the Millennium Falcon ride, so that's happening in both parks. It sounds to me, and some of the news sites that I've read and watched, that Florida, they just don't want to spend the money. I don't think they feel like they need to. They're probably going to do it eventually. They're just going to let Disneyland do it first, see how it goes, and then go, just kind of follow suit after that. you know, my only disappointment is that I don't have a trip to Disneyland planned this year. I know Star Wars Daddy does, so you might pick up, if you're watching or watch this on the rewatch, you might pick up some new stuff, some more OT items that I think you'll get excited about. But overall, I'm real excited about it, guys. I think it's great. I think it opens the door for some interesting things to happen. I think it opens the door for expansion. Some news agencies that like are kind of trying to build this like it was a like the Galaxy's Edge was a failure. I don't really think it was a failure, guys. I mean, I've been there quite a bit, and the only thing I will say is that it does lighten up in crowds at the end of the night. But beyond that, it's pretty crowded. I think it's pretty busy. It's pretty crowded. I think that people doing a lot. I don't know if is it going to be improved. I always think things can be plussed and improved, and I think that you know where they can improve it. Yeah, I think that they were. My only critique of it was that and I love the sequels. I love this. I love Rey. I love Kylo Ren. I love all those characters. I just think that they kept a very small window between, you know, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, and that was just a little bit of time. So I don't know if that made too much sense. But the nice thing is I think they were forward thinking, because I don't think this land really was too in terms of the buildings and the rock structures and the ships and everything. I don't think it's too much stuck in one time frame. Just the characters. So you can very easily, you know, switch things out, add characters, subtract characters. So I'm excited about that. So overall, I think this is great news. I just wanted to give my thoughts on it. I do think that I wonder what this will mean in the long run. Will they change Rise of Resistance? I don't know if it's a wise idea to fully abandon the sequel trilogy, meaning the characters, because I think there's a whole generation of kids that are now, you know, 10 years later, these 5, 6, 7-year-olds that are now teenagers going into college, and in another 10 years are going to be the ones spending their money, and they connect to the sequel trilogy. So I think it's a wise idea to expand Galaxy's Edge to include multiple eras. And I also believe that there's going to be a voice out there saying, what about prequels? What about Anakin? What about young Obi-Wan? Where are we going to see them? And I'm sorry, there's a lot of people that want that. I just think that the most popular right now maybe the most vocally popular, the ones that the vocal complaints or the feedback they've received was for original trilogy. So we will see what happens. All right, so that's my thoughts. It's a short video. I don't really know. If you want to leave a comment and let me know what you think. As I said, my first idea was a little disappointed that it was going to California and not Florida. I will say, in all honesty, that that doesn't shock me, because number one, for those who don't know Disney that much, Disney parks. Disneyland is what they call a locals park. It's a beautiful park. It's a wonderful place to go on vacation, but it's not like Disney World where you can go for, well, I mean, we went for 5 days, you know, and we were in the parks for 3 of them. Like we traveled one day, was in the parks for 3, and then went home the last day. And it was great. We had a wonderful time. Disney World, if you watch my channel, we go there for weeks at a time. You know, we can go for 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even longer. Because there's just literally so much. 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, a shopping dining area. There's just literally an unending amount of stuff to do. You never get bored. And that's the way Florida is. But because California is much more a locals park, there's a lot of people that live in the Southern California area that tend to visit often. Disneyland is always adding new characters, adding new food options. Galaxy's Edge there is a very different land, because there's literally new stuff to do every week. You know, that's why Disneyland does the overlays, like the Haunted Mansion Holiday, or the holiday overlay for Small World. You know, they have stuff like that all the time, and now they're just, you know, and Avengers. I mean, every time a new Avengers movie comes out, like Fantastic Four came out, there were Fantastic Four characters walking around Tomorrowland. There were Fantastic Four, or there was when Thunderbolts came out, there was a whole, you know, Red Guardian was walking around Avengers Campus. I don't know if he's still there. I don't think they just keep adding and adding and then just don't stop having them. I just think they kind of rotate people in and out, because they can do that, because people come all the time that live locally and they need to see new things. So I think that's why Disneyland does that, and I think that's why they're doing this. But I do think that in the long run, I agree with what a lot of people are saying, that if this is successful, meaning if there's a definitive uptick in ticket sales and people being in Galaxy's Edge and purchasing the blue milk and the Ronto wraps and the food and other food and the going to Oga's and doing the things that they do, I think we are very quickly going to see this happen in Florida. Whether it quickly means in a year or less or more, who knows. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching on the rewatch, I'm sorry you couldn't be here live. Thanks for the 3 people that watched live. Thank you. And we will see you all in the next video. Again, keep in mind, keep on, if anybody here who wants to watch other things I'm doing, Instagram and Twitter, or sorry, not Twitter, Bluesky, but also Whatnot. I have another sale scheduled for 6 p.m. on Friday night Eastern Standard on the Whatnot app. That's going to be more modern 1995 or later action figures and stuff like that. And in a week's time, I will, a week from Friday, I will go back to doing a vintage loose figure show. So again, thank you so much. I have more videos up, dropping this week, including the Whatnot show, which you can watch on the live feed on YouTube, but I recommend going to Whatnot to watch it because it's a little more active there. Again, thanks so much for watching, guys, and until next time, may the Force and the toy